when Barack Obama was choosing his vice presidential candidate, he had three criteria. He wanted to make sure he picked somebody that wasn't as smart as him and had less talent and charisma and couldn't possibly outshine him, so he picked Joe Biden. And then Joe Biden in 2020 used the exact same criteria, and he picked Kamala Harris. And then in 2024, Governor, I think it's very evident why Kamala Harris picked you. The talent pool, Mr. Chairman. Hey, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Governor Walz, do you believe the 70,000 strong Somali community as a whole has made a positive impact on your state?
I do.
So you'd be of the opinion, fair to say, that the Somali community has successfully assimilated and is making Minnesota better?
Yeah, I believe they're on that path, okay. Yes.
I'm just curious by what metric you'd come to that conclusion. I just looked at some hard data. And do you have any idea what percentage of the native-born Minnesotans, all races, live in poverty in your state right now?
I don't have specifically.
I'll share it with you. It's 8%. For the Somali community, it's 52%. How about receiving food stamps?
I don't know.
All right, I'll run it down with you. It's 7%, and then compared to 54% in the Somali community, and then don't have at least a high school diploma. For all Minnesotans, it's 5%. Somali community, it's 39%. One family member at least on Medicaid, it's 18% for Minnesota, 73% for the Somali community, and receiving welfare of some form, it's 21%. And it's 81% for the Somali community. Governor, do you happen to know what the percentage is of all those who have currently been charged in this staggering social services fraud scheme were native-born Minnesotans? What percentage?
I do not have that.
I think it was 85 out of 98, which comes out to 13% Minnesotan and 87% Somali Minnesotan. So I think this is an instance, perhaps, of where woke gets slapped by data. Governor, there's been billions stolen over 7+ years right under your nose, and really there's only two explanations. It's either you were in on it or you weren't smart enough to see it. It's either criminal negligence or wild incompetence. And the only way this kind of fraud can reach this scale is if there's people in power that are colluding and collaborating and willfully blinding themselves to the realities around them. And in oversight, when we do investigations, it's rare for us to have whistleblowers because they face retribution and punishment and resentment, and they can be ostracized, and it's difficult and it's uncomfortable, and sometimes it's even dangerous. So when we have when we're having an investigation and we have even a couple of whistleblowers, it's very valuable to us because they provide invaluable insight. Do you have any idea how many whistleblowers are working from Minnesota or working with the Oversight Committee?
I do not. We have our own strong protections in the OLA, the independent.
Well, and it's 30. I mean, I haven't seen that in 5+ years in Congress, 30. Governor, on September 16th, 2025, did you announce your reelection bid?
Pardon me?
On September 16th, last year, did you
I don't know the exact date.
In September, roughly the fall last year, did you announce you're running for governor again?
Yeah. I believe that's correct.
Okay. And then I think you said in your quote here, we've made historic progress, but we're not done yet. And then just 3.5 months later, on January 5th, you dropped out. I got to ask you why. I mean, were you tired of making historic progress?
No, Congressman, I think I've done the job for 2 terms, and I said talking with my family, and I said I want to focus on doing the job, not running. Didn't have
anything to do with this epic, historic, awful fraud?
It has everything to do with trying to do the job right for Minnesota.
The facts are your leadership, and really your lack of leadership, has been responsible for one of the largest ripoffs of the American taxpayer in our history. And you traded, I believe, political expediency, the currency of political expediency, for your integrity. And, you know, Mr. Chairman, I don't know if you know this, but it's been widely reported that in 2008, when Barack Obama was choosing his vice presidential candidate, he had three criteria. He wanted to make sure he picked somebody that wasn't as smart as him and had less talent and charisma and couldn't possibly outshine him, so he picked Joe Biden. And then Joe Biden in 2020 used the exact same criteria. He wanted to make sure he picked somebody who wasn't as smart as him, had less talent and charisma, and wouldn't outshine him, and he picked Kamala Harris. And then in 2024, Governor, I think it's very evident why Kamala Harris picked you. The talent pool, Mr. Chairman, hey, Mr. Chairman, the talent pool isn't just shallow, brother. We have hit the shore, and I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to summarize some of the things that have already been said here today rather than ask these questions directly. The federal prosecutors that we have now charged nearly 100 individuals across multiple Minnesota fraud schemes, including Feeding Our Future and related Medicaid, daycare, and autism programs, with 85 of those charged being of Somali descent. Governor Walz, your administration's Department of Education and Department of Human Services failed to act on multiple early fraud warnings about Feeding Our Future, allowing the theft of at least $250 million in federal child nutrition funds that were supposed to feed hungry kids during the COVID-19 pandemic. Governor Walz, I'd like to turn to the demographics and policy choices that enabled this. Since you took office, the Somali population in Minnesota has grown substantially. Recently, Fox 9 reported, the reporting puts the total over 107,000. Did your administration's soft on immigration policies, including expanded refugee programs and temporary protected status, contribute to that rapid growth?
I couldn't speak to why people move to Minnesota, other than it's a great place to live. It could be a sanctuary
policy and refugee programs and temporary protected statuses. According to the Center for Immigration Studies analysis of census data, 81% of Minnesota households headed by Somali immigrants receive one or more forms of public assistance, compared to just 21% of native-born Minnesotan households. Why is that disparity so extreme under your watch, sir?
I can't speak specifically, Congressman, but I would anticipate that new generation immigrants, whether they be Norwegian or whether they be Hmong or whether they be Somali, probably on the front end as they're establishing home ownership, education.
I think we should be bringing folks to our country that are going to contribute and not just siphon off of the tax dollars of American citizens. Mr. Governor Walz, yes or no, would stricter vetting of immigrants and refugees have prevented many of these fraudsters from entering our country in the first place?
I wouldn't have any way to know that.
Do you agree with stricter vetting processes for those who are coming to our country?
I don't care where you're coming from. If you commit fraud, you're going to jail in Minnesota. That's what I care about, and that's what I'm here for.
Yes or no, should Somali immigrants or any other immigrants who defraud American taxpayers and steal funds intended for hungry children be deported immediately?
That's a decision for the federal government. You're responsible for immigration.
Governor Walz, do you know who Victoria Eileen Harwell is?
I do not believe I do.
What about American Mafalda Tyer?
I don't believe I do.
There. These are Minnesota women who were brutally killed by illegal aliens in your state. You don't know who they are, so I would also assume that you did not attend their vigils or speak out to their families when they were brutally killed by illegal aliens.
I'm not familiar with both of these, no, Congresswoman.
No, just the hard-hitting CNN ones. Yes or no, would you support ending Minnesota's sanctuary policies to stop these fraudsters and murderers from using your state as a safe haven?
Well, as I said on June 12th, we don't have sanctuary policies, and Tom Homan reiterated that here in the past few weeks that we do not either, and that we are cooperating as required.
Thank you, Governor. Will you direct local law enforcement to fully cooperate with ICE and federal agents and follow federal immigration laws that are currently on the books?
They do. If they want to do more, they can, but we have a floor that they have to. And that's been proven time and time again in Minnesota over this. That's why they're leaving, because we had cooperated.
Okay. Final question for you, Governor. There are multiple documented reports of Somali immigrants entering sham marriages, including siblings and close family members, solely for immigration purposes. Are you aware of these reports, and what, if anything, has your administration done to stop this kind of immigration fraud happening in your state?
States are not responsible for immigration screening, and I'm not familiar with what you're
You're not responsible for any vetting whatsoever?
Federal government.
Well, this is happening under your watch, and there's immigration fraud, so we will do everything that we can. And hopefully you allow your local law enforcement officers to coordinate with federal agents when we are going after these immigration fraudsters.
As we do.
Governor.